All right, so my topic for for this presentation and my research for this class would be the case study on the social networks, with focusing and regarding on the freedom of expression and the state of censorship, especially in China. And with the title "Party Like It's 1984." This is actually interesting topic because first of all, I has always been just because where I'm from. So I've been on the Chinese internet for more than 20 years, and I did, oh, sorry, around 20 years. And I did witness a lot of changes, transformations, and some really interesting phenomena. And also the use of internet became more heavily focused and more it become more useful as a media for information, for transmitting information, whether those information are either educational, useful, or they're just plain propagandas. However, just the rise of digital platforms and social media has shifted global communication, influence, and understanding. Um, what's so special about China is that it's unlike many communist countries in Eastern Europe, including the Soviet Union, right? The party collapsed. Basically, they collapsed in the 90s after as a conclusion of the Cold War. However, during that time, China was doing its both economic and partially political reformation. So the party is still there. And what's happening is that especially in the recent 10 years, the new leader, the Xi, who later basically is a now de facto dictator in China, he kind of pushes the country back to he wants to push us back to where it was during the Cold War era, or for us it would be during the Cultural Revolution, those times. So then combined, so he introduced or under his administration, he introduced a lot of um, very heavily regulated contents, and also rules on the censorship, which would be interesting as how the strict rules of censorship combined with the nearly infinite possibilities that created by this technology of internet. And so in the Chinese digital narrative, which is specific to the country, it actually offers crucial insights in some intricacies of information dissemination and also information control. And also it would providing a lot of the I would say, useful insights on how the democracies could be vulnerable, and insights on how the actions we could do to protecting us against the future some potential dictatorship taking over. So first of all, I would like to beginning with introducing the user portraits, which including basically the groups of who are on the internet. There are basically two or three groups of people. So first group would be the pinkies. We say the self-employed. Those people are made up about anywhere between 10% 15% to 20% of the internet users. And as an interesting observation, those are the ones who posted the most frequently and tends to, engage in arguments with people who hold a different point of view. The 80% of people, I can't find a great really good English word to conclude that, but I would say so I just basically call that by the Chinese name, the Sui Jing, or the abbreviation for Sui Yue Jinghao. It's like the group of people the cynical, basically, they are just cynical. They don't care about politics. They do not have a special view. They know that the party is dangerous, and in their minds, they kind of know that there are something they are not supposed to talk about, and they don't talk about. And when they are online, they usually just be following their non-political interests, such as following celebrities and those things. And usually those group of people are more middle-aged, and also, they grow up in the 70s, 80s, which they actually enjoyed the most of the benefits from the age of some economic transformations and reformations back in Deng's area like after the Cultural Revolution. Deng took over and he introduced some levels of the economic flexibilities with the country's politics that the people who grow up in this age are usually in the middle class. They have their savings, they have a reliable and stable jobs. So those people are usually we categorizing them into the Sui Jing, this group. And then there comes the rebel, or the dissent group, which are really small actually, because it's dangerous to be one. And then there are the humans or the bots, which they do not really reflect in their own political viewpoints. Rather, it's they hold the view of whoever employs them. Actually, the state did employ a team of a group of people who, their job is to comment the news on all the social medias, and also the bots. Especially with the current language models, it's who knows how many there are. So first of all, the pinkies. Pinkies are usually from grade 8, where the kids, I think now their age will become much younger as the kids, they are introduced to the internet at a more younger age. So as the categorizing, they usually are from 14 to 24 years old. So, the kids from grade 8 all the way to maybe college, they really not experienced the hardship of the livelihood if they are on their own. They do not know how hard because it's also another complications regarding to the education system that the parents are taking care of nearly everything, from what you eat, from who your friends are, from if you got injured, if you go to hospital, those anything. And because they just want the kids to focus on their education and studies, so therefore they have no experience and also no idea about the life outside of the school. So all their knowledge about the country is entirely based on the textbook. I say yes. So entirely based on the textbook, which is delusional, in fact, right? They think, yes, as China, as the textbook has depicted, we have no poverty, everyone is happy, and we are definitely on the glorious road towards the communism, the great communism. So they are the main audiences and propagators for national propaganda. And some of them have the ability to circumvent the wall just because they are young, they are just good with technologies, they know. And it's not, depending on which technique you use, some of the techniques are not that hard to bypassing the firewall. which they have accounts on Twitter and Instagram, which is ironically um, banned inside China. But what's more ironic is that they have, sorry, one sec. It's more ironic is that on the sites, the social sites that's banned inside China, the posting, pro-state, the pro-country propaganda, calling, they are disagreeing with people who has the democratic point of views, and also they usually being compared to the Red Guards during the Cultural Revolution time. And another interesting thing, or else could be also dangerous, is that they've been actively participating in the witch hunt, which they actually think anyone who disagree with them are foreign spies. There are cases that the school students reporting their teacher to basically the police, just for being, talking about things which contradicts their point of view. Maybe their teacher wants, let them know some values of democracy, some values of a constitutionalized republics, which the case there, they don't believe it. And they think it's, oh, of course, the teacher is definitely a foreign spy who wants to bring destructions to our country. And then the second group, the Sui Jin group, which this name comes from a phrase, 岁月静好. So basically it says, our life is just great, nothing to worry about. So most of them, which is not true, because there are definitely a lot of troubles looking at. If you're looking at, outside of yourself. So what they actually prefer to turn a blind eye to other people's adversity, because most of the tragedies are in fact related to, okay, just make sure I have the right slide. Excuse me. Because most of the tragedies in China are related to the political system, like they can be tracked. If you really tracing them, all the source of all the problem is the one party, way to govern the country. For any example, like if you have the educations, if your kids are doing the homework all the way till 2 a.m., if you trace this down, it's because of the imbalance. Basically, there is a huge imbalance in how the education resources are distributed. Therefore, if for people belongs to certain class, your kids needs to just do not have a life and spend all your years into, not really studying, but just to doing good on the exams. Until they are at that point, they might, receive the equal higher education compares to, if your parents are related to the government's officials, then, your high school experience might be similar to a normal American high school experience. You would have your, school trip, you would have your prom, yearly prom, and everything, and you don't have homeworks at all. But those differences are brought by the political system. If you're talking about the healthcare, they can be tracked back to the corruptions inside the political system. If you're talking about the finances, these are more closely related. So any tragedies in China are, if you really trace this down, it's all go back to the political system. So the way for you to not be able to not think, or to not cross the red line, is that you just turn the blind eye to all these tragedies and you say, No, those are not true, and everyone is happy. So they know annoying, if they everything annoying, the party is dangerous. And the party, they know that the party is extremely easy to be triggered. So in fact, those people are cruelly selfish towards, covers who pretends to live in the life which they think is beautiful and good. So they normally cares about themselves, their own sentiments, and they won't cry for anyone else other than themselves. And most importantly, they hate anyone who dares to tell them the truth. However, there is a catch that when the parties, when the tragedy comes, when we say the party's iron fist comes crashing down, um, it takes no exceptions that no one it's can be spared. Like there is no exception on you. If you, this, no matter like if you has been always, in the same on the same page with the party for how many years, if you are not, if you do not have the power, right? If you are just obedient citizen for how many years, or even if you are a celebrity, even if you are such as the top wealth person, such as the Jack Ma, the most wealth person, he basically lost a part of his money and do not dare to go back to China to do business again. So like there, it takes no exceptions, and because they care about themselves, and because their group characteristic is that I don't care for anyone besides me. And then when the fate comes crashing on them, no one within their group are helping them, because all they know is that yes, this person, because the party decides to take a picking on him, so it's dangerous for me to help him, this person. So this actually makes the society more atomicized, and this is one of the ways that how this totalitarian or authoritarian dictatorship are strengthened within the country. Until recent, but yeah, then in recent years, as those people who are really, really the experiencing the operations from the states with the state power, such as especially with the COVID-19, the regulations and controls, it affect nearly every person's life, and no one, except if you're really lucky, otherwise no one are free from this. And then an interesting point is that many people who were in this group before, they turn into the dissent group. They begin to turn into the rebel or dissent group. A really interesting point that I found out is that because there are new immigrants from China into Canada every year, right? So in the community that I was living, there are a lot, like there are many new immigrants buying houses in my community. And when I just take a walk in the park, I can see more of the newcomers from China to gathering and talking. So if it was 5 years ago, the topics they've been talking about usually are, how great is China today? And oh, maybe we can, like our kids go back to take university in China, or, things like, what what kind of business we can do in China still, like cross-border businesses we can do with people in China to make money. But then, especially like in this summer, when I come across those newcomers, the most discussion topic I heard is the basically dissing on Xi himself, which is really interesting to see. So they have two ways of, I'll say, evolving. So either they gave up the logic and thinking, which they turn into the pro country group with doublethink, or they turn into the dissent group. And then the dissent or the rebel, we call ourselves the fanzai. Those group of people are, the numbers are actually growing in these years, because many of them are previously, never affected. I never know, like the party never affected my life until a couple of years ago, that the the COVID-19 policy really crushes their lives. So they believe in the liberalism, and also they see the destructive actions created by the party and hold dissents. And in real life, in real life, there is always this kind of like survivor bias. Like, if you walk on the street, you have no idea about this person, whether this person is disagree with party or not. That's normal in any world. But then because of the parties, their propaganda and their characteristics, like how they depicting, how they, sending out propagating out the information, it appears like as if everyone loves the country. So you really don't know how many they are. So like many are pretending to be one of the for their own safety, but under some factors, they would actually participate not in online, but also offline events, including the non-cooperation movement, distributing flyers, coded language protest, and in some cases, the group demonstration. So this is actually from last year's white paper movement, which is a really inspirational political movement ever since the 1989. And many people, nearly like I know it's when it's many, but it's also really small if you're looking at the population size, like entire population size. But again, like there are more than hundreds of thousands of people walked on the streets that, tell the party that this is wrong, your policy with COVID-19 to lock people indoor, that's wrong. So, well, online, so if we're talking about their online actions, well, online, they usually avoid the actions of, praising the party. They might, if they have to, like, yes, there are circumstances that you have to post in things to show how much you love the country, such as in the national days, such as in the anniversary of the party's establishment. Yes, everyone, like especially if you belong to some companies, or if you are a teacher in school, you do have to post in such things, like say, oh, I celebrate with my country, those things. But then there are some people who are doing this, but then doing that in a sort of ironic or ironic way that make it what I'm trying to say here. It's satire, yeah, exactly. In the with the sarcasm that people who knows, and sometimes they are actually committing the act of what we call the chonta. It's this actually a term from the game, the League of Legends, where if you are crossing the border of the tower, which you're risking yourself a great deal to do something. So usually when it means to a provocation to the authorities. The actual proportion of the dissent group, again, are really underestimated. In real life, one should avoid to be seen. So in real life, you don't know if the person is dissent. And for online communities, this is where the survival bias be more exaggerated, because if you're posting anything that's considered a dissent, you may facing consequences such as your account getting banned, and also your comments being removed. What's coming as a result is that if you're looking online, it's like appears, oh, everyone loves the party, but really maybe like 50% of the 100% of the comments are 99% are removed, and the resting 1%, there may be like 1,000 comments, but these are just 1% that's not being removed, are generated from the bots, from the robots. And they say, yeah, I love my country and everything. So that's really interesting. And then the next part is the censor and the wall. So the most significant part of the country's censorship system is the wall. So specifically speaking, the technological mechanism. So if we're talking wall specifically, it means the technological mechanism to block citizens browsing, online foreign content such as the news from BBC, Wall Street Journal, Economist, or online communities such as Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or online games such as Animal Crossing. That's interesting because in Animal Crossing, what happened is in 2019, it's about the same, the release of Animal Crossing is about the same time as the Hong Kong's protest. And there are, as soon as the party realizes that there are people who are decorating, their garden in the Animal Crossing with the banners of used in the Hong Kong protest, they say, "Oh, that's the we need to ban this game." So Animal Crossing is actually banned, and also basically any game that has has the ability to communicate outside of China is also banned. Generally speaking, includes the regulations on domestically hosted content as well, including keyword filtering, real-time content monitoring, and also repercussions for illegal, quote unquote, illegal online activities. This is one of the most common picture you see if you're browsing Chinese internet that says this content is removed because of certain rules. So first of all, if we're talking about the state-derived or state-driven factor, we have to see this we have to see this part, this government branch, which is called Cyberspace Administration of China, and also generally speaking, we call them the cyber police, the Wangjing. So basically, it worked as the Ministry of Truth. It's established in 2018 and also combined with some their former parties. And heavily, their main duty is to monitor online communities. And in case there were any doubts, the Central CAC actually, so this is a quote from their own statement that they say the cyber police are right by your side. The eyes of the supervisor are watching you. You will tap a string and you will have the necessary scruples. You will exercise restraint and restrictionality when you post and write messages. So netizens are advised to consider what should be said and what should not be said on the internet. And they employed teams of network commentators to get the trend of public opinion. There are cases of actual arrest for merely posting things on social media. The censorship goes on two levels. Number one level would be the hosting platform that the party again require especially the CAC. This is requirement from the CAC that basically says that if you are hosting any online communities, you need to performing the censorship yourself, both on machine level and they don't say which level you need to perform, but they say do not have the bad contents. A really vague statement. So the platforms themselves, they need to remove the contents, they introduce shadow bans, or they even ban the user for 3 days, 10 days, 30 days, or even up to a year from any activities. So those are fills up the majority of the censorships. And then the second part is directly from the CAC that they are randomly actively monitoring the cyberspace, that if they find anything poking or anything that's skipped the eyes of the hosting platform that became a trending topic, they themselves will actually remove the topic. They have the super bypass power to do that. And then another thing is that they remove the contents, or which we call the authoritarian missile. Like if you don't like this, for example, if you don't like this celebrities and you want to attack his fan base, and one thing you can do as a Chinese person is that you can basically find someone or find any statement from the celebrity that has anything even really remotely political. So then this branch will come over and looking upon it. And for the safety of the politics, they will basically remove everything. It's like your existence from the internet will be nuked. And I will show an example a bit later. And then they never state clear in the context of what's allowed and what's not allowed, right? They really just say, do not have any bad things, do not do any bad things. And they do not define what exactly is the bad thing. So that's the real point. That this is a punchline that they want you to, do not know anything. It's just like they want you to think about the rules or basically censor yourself. So it's like usually there are 3 levels of censorship, where the 3rd level is in the people's heart. And also from the CAC, they also punishes the platform and also possibly individuals. There are many cases of people being criminalized just because they are posting things. Especially and one significant part is that in the beginning of the COVID-19, so that's in December 2019, there was a doctor from the city of Wuhan. He just posted on his own social media, or like, thinks that as the Instagram close to friends. So he posted there saying, okay, from our lab, we kind of found some sort of, from our hospital's lab, we found a new variant of the virus, and my friends take care. That's all things he says. And then he got arrested. And ironically, yes, this is a new virus, and this became the COVID-19. And, if there was the freedom of speech, and one possibility is that this disease can be controlled in a way earlier stage and would not bring such a huge global effect. And by the method of authoritarian, it's really, I mean to say, the removal of existence. So, for example, I'll use this person, Xu Zhiyong. He was, at one point of time, he was actually not a party member, but participated in the political reforming. He actually, he's a human rights lawyer, and some of his activities actually affected the lawmaking process, but that was back in before 2009. He was actually awarded by the party in 2003 for helping the country to establish a good, strengthful, robust legal system. But then I think it was around 2010, 2013, or sorry, he was arrested again. He was basically banned in the internet. And then he was arrested again in 2021. That for him being a lawyer, to trying to providing some legal protections for his clients. About 4 days ago, he received the award from I think it's Europe's Europe's legal lawyer, lawyer of the year award from Europe. But on the same day, he is not able to actually go to Europe to receive it. But because on the same day, he is sentenced for the 14 years. And this is a comparison of the results that you found on Bing search and then on the Chinese search engine Baidu. It's that on the Bing search, it has all the information. And on Baidu, it's interestingly, there are no results after 2014. And then the self-censoring, the next part will be the self-censoring. And I do have to make the second part.